Good afternoon, everyone. Allison Scott here, Consolidated Planning Group. We are happy that you have joined us today. Thanks for taking the time out of your day. This is a brand new webinar that we have not done before. We're happy to be partnering with Be an Angel today, Denise Kaufman, and she's going to be talking about who Be an Angel is and how they might be able to help your loved one with a disability. We're going to go deeper and wider with that today. So I always like to go over a few housekeeping items. First things first, we are in webinar mode today, which means that we can't see you or hear you, but we know you're there and we're glad that you've joined us. Our chat box is open today, so if you have questions during this presentation, we just ask that you put those questions in the chat box and we'll get to as many as possible as the time allows. We're going for an hour today. If you wrote a question in already, I have those. We are going to go through those questions today as well. And then also from a note-taking perspective, we are recording this webinar, and everybody who registered for the webinar is going to get a PDF of the slides either later today or tomorrow. I always like to mention that when you sign up for our webinars, it asks if you are open to communications. And basically, if you say no to that, you're not going to get an email with a copy of the slides or a link to the recording. All of our past recordings live on the Consolidated Planning Group YouTube channel. You'll know you have the right place because if you Google Consolidated Planning Group YouTube, you'll see that flower and you can subscribe for free on that YouTube channel. There are hundreds and hundreds of webinars. If you can think of a topic as it relates planning for a loved one with a disability, we have probably discussed it and it is out there. We partner with law firms and attorneys who talk about the legal documents such as special needs trust, guardianship, wills, trust, things like that. We've partnered with the Social Security Administration. We kind of talk, we cast a wide net on the topics that we go over, and we've titled them in such a manner that we hope that you can find the title for the step that you're on in your planning journey. For those of you that are joining for the very first time, Consolidated Planning Group is a holistic special needs financial planning firm. We're nationally certified as Social Security advisors, members of the Special Needs Planning Academy, chartered special needs consultants. Our whole firm is nuanced in helping you plan for the future of a loved one with a disability. And for our professionals that have joined us today, we help serve the families that you serve, answering questions like who's going to care for my child when I'm gone? How much money do we need to fund a special needs trust? How and when should I apply for public benefits? What should my child be eligible for? How do I get it right? These are all some of the questions that we help with. We help people implement lifetime care plans and protection plans. We help people set up ABLE accounts. We do those future cost of care estimates, that how much money do we need to fund the special needs trust? And I say small, medium, and large, because a lot of the families that come to us are still hopeful and optimistic of where their kid is, but they're not, their brain isn't fully formed. They're not fully grown up, and maybe they're maybe a little bit behind their peers. We don't know yet exactly where they're going to end up. And so we help people plan for that. And then, of course, we do a lot of education on state and federal benefits and local resources that might be available. So some of the local resources, that's exactly what we're talking about today with Be an Angel. So we're excited to hear more about that. And as always, at CPG, what we is when it comes to planning for a loved one with a disability, your situation is specialized. So whether you work with us or you work with somebody else, truly work with a specialist that is specifically nuanced on helping a person plan for a person with a disability. And this comes on the financial side of the house as well as the legal side of the house. Just because an advisor can do something doesn't mean that they're knowledgeable about all of the nuances as it relates to state and federally funded programs. And that really matters when it comes to the future of our loved one and the services that they might get that might be covered through the state or a Medicaid waiver and things like that. So we always just want you to keep that in mind. And I always say that there's a lot of DIY projects. DIY projects are fun. But when it comes to this kind of thing, this is not a do-it-yourself project. This is where you really want to get the right people on the bus in the right seats when it comes to helping you navigate planning for your loved one. So we always, remind people It's not about looking back or beating yourself up about what you haven't done. It's about looking forward. You're here today. Some people have done a lot of planning and they just want a second opinion or a look under the hood of what they've already done to make sure it's right and money are in the right buckets and that we've applied for the things that we should. Some people are just getting started. They might have a brand new diagnosis, and some people are somewhere in the middle, somewhere along the way, and it got put on the shelf, and we were planning to get going on that again, and then life got busy, and then here we are. So wherever you are, just pick up where you left off. And like I said, don't beat yourself up about that. One of the things that we talk about is, when considering things as it relates to our loved one, is exploring options early. Options like post-high school education, vocational paths, residential, partial residential, summer camps, things like that. Explore those early, get yourself on the waiting list, give yourself the opportunity to say yes or say pass, but at least you're on the list, as opposed to waiting for the crisis to happen. Somebody becomes incapacitated, somebody passes away unexpectedly, and then we're kind of trying to pick up the pieces and work from behind. Okay. And then we always mention the importance of the selection of future caregivers for your loved one. I know that this is something that keeps people up at night. Like, who is going to care for my child when I'm gone? Nobody could fill my shoes or my spouse's shoes or things like that. And so really thinking about who that is. Is it a specific person? Is it a residential living community that will take that on? So be thinking about those things as well. So having said that, Denise, welcome. I'm so glad that you have joined us today, and we are really excited to hear about Be an Angel. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to get through this pretty quickly. You can go ahead and change that first slide. Be an Angel's been around for 40 years. This year, we celebrate our 40th birthday down in the Houston area. They have always helped children across the whole state of Texas, but it was a small group working in the Houston area most of those years. And so they're most known in that area. Our mission is to improve the quality of life for children with multiple disabilities or profound deafness by providing needed adaptive equipment. And we'll talk more about that in just a second. Hearing devices, respite care, and other select services. When we're talking about equipment, it's a little broader now than just adaptive equipment. And I think there's another slide that may go into the equipment program more completely, but I'll just go ahead and talk about it now. It could be a speech language tablet for a nonverbal child. It could be a wheelchair. It could be an adaptive track. It could be I think they're called OBI, robotic feeding systems. It could be anything that could loosely be defined as equipment. We custom order for the child, and then it becomes that child's piece of equipment. You get a recommendation from your physical therapist or your doctor on exactly what it is that the child needs, and we order straight off of that, and then you receive the equipment. So there's no equipment closet, or we don't have equipment lying around. It is ordered custom for the child. Same with hearing devices, same with band conversions. Respite care, we pay for up to 12 hours each month. It can work one of two ways. If you know a caregiver that you trust to stay with the child, grandma, aunt, neighbor, friend, somebody from their school, you can bring that person into the program and we can start paying them. If you don't know somebody, we have a pretty extensive list in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and Houston area of caregivers that are wanting to care for children. We do run a background check on them. They do have to be CPR certified before starting. And then camp, which I think we're going to go into the most detail about in this webinar. We have camp 2 in the fall, 2 in the spring. 2027, there'll be 3 in the spring. One is in Burton, Texas. The other is in Rockport, Texas. And you're there for a weekend. The whole family attends. And it's just a great time where you're there with about 30 other families that become your friends, become people that are living life like you are. So they know what your days look like, and it's just a beautiful time. And then we do have a Christmas program that we do with school districts. Um, so school districts can apply to be part of the Christmas program. And then if they're chosen, we give them a number of students, special students that we will provide Christmas for. They decide which students will receive Christmas, and we go out with shoppers and make it happen on the wish list and then deliver it out to the schools in December. We also help school districts when they need equipment for classrooms and don't have the funding for that. You can go to the
I have
next
a
slide.
couple of questions. So,
Uh-huh.
Be an Angel, is this a national organization, 501(c)(3), or is this just Texas-based? And for our listeners that are listening in, for other states, are you able to help connect them with similar resources in their area?
So we are a 501(c)(3). We only serve the state of Texas. We do not serve children outside of Texas. And I do not have a whole lot of references that I could send you for who does similar things to us outside of Texas. Um, I
Some
have a
of the
few groups
things that
I
I
know
think
about.
of, like for Googling for the people that are outside of Texas, that there are lending closets, but they're lending, they're not giving. There
Right.
probably are giving closets or things like that that you can Google. And then, of course, in your area, checking with the ARC or Easter Seals, some of the other organizations that we know work with families with disabilities. They may be knowledgeable about resources in your area that are similar to Be an Angel in Texas. So I just want to mention that to everyone. One person says, do you serve NEISD San Antonio Stone Oak area specifically for respite?
We serve anywhere in the state of Texas.
Awesome.
So if you have an address in the state of Texas, you can apply for any of our services.
And if we had any special ed teachers or coordinators on here today, professionals that are working in the public school sector, and they want to get their school connected with your organization, then would they just reach out to you, or do you guys have an intake process or something?
They can reach out to me, and my information will be at the end of this slideshow.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
One thing I did not mention, we serve respite care up to age 25. Everything else, every other service is up to age 22. We follow kind of the school system, and when they get out of school and before anyone says, why do you have cutoff ages? Believe me, my heart is right there with you. Um, I wish that we did not have ages because these kids need what they need, whether they're 50 or 5. But Be an Angel has always served up to age 22. They recently upped the respite care program to age 25. So for now, that is how it is. Camp for All is our one of our camps. Um, that is in Burton, Texas, as I mentioned. Barrier free, all inclusive. It's a family weekend camp, about 30 families. We usually go in April and September. Sometimes, depending on dates, it could be March or October, but those are the months, fall and spring, that we do camps. Activities. So on Saturday, everything's set up that so that even a child in a wheelchair can zip line, ride a horse, canoe, do archery, fishing, swimming, arts and crafts, and more. Your families stay in cabins. Sometimes there's 2 families per cabin. Sometimes you get your own cabin. Begins at 5 p.m. on Friday, ends around 1 or 2 o'clock on Sunday. All food is taken care of. Everything is taken care of while you're there. You must bring your medications and special food if children have dietary restrictions and things like that. And Burton is about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes south of Waco, down towards Brenham and College Station. You can change this slide. The other camp is in Rockport, and you can see from the picture there that it's way far south, but it's beautiful. You're on the bay, you can see the ocean. It's same thing, barrier free, all inclusive family weekend, 10 to 12 families, depending on scheduling. It's March, October, sometimes it's April, September, those months. Activities are pretty much the same. I don't think that Rockport has zip lining, but they have something similar to that. The families stay in cabins again, begins at 5, ends at 1. All the same things with dietary restrictions, need to bring your own and medication, but everything else is taken care of while you're there.
Can we just talk about qualifications for this and getting into camp? And if you have a wait list, we're the money people, we're financial people. So I guess the first thing that I'm asking, because a lot of families, one of the barriers to families with disabilities is all of a sudden we don't qualify for anything. We make too much money, we have too much assets. Is it based off of assets or is it based off of disability or a combination of the two? How do they qualify?
So everything that we do is on a case by case basis. We do not have a minimum income threshold or a maximum income threshold. We, I mean, you can go look at an application online before you come to us, but we look at everything going on in your family. We look at what you bring in, what you put out. Are you putting money aside for their future life planning? Like, we look at everything. And in 40 years, I think there may have been 5 applications denied. So if you can afford to send your kid to camp or your family to camp, and it is no sweat off your back financially to do that, then yeah, probably don't apply with us. But if that is something that is going to stretch you or you just can't do real easily, then by all means apply, as you'll probably get accepted for us. I know for people that like numbers and minimum income levels, that answer aggravates them, but it is a case by case basis. Very few have been denied. As I said, and what I say to families, if you can afford these things on your own, no sweat off your back, probably don't apply. But it's somebody like you and me looking at that application, looking at what you make, what are you paying out, what's going on in your family. We had a family recently that applied. If you just looked at the income, the dad made a great living in the oil field, but he had a wife that was diagnosed with breast cancer. He had a son going to college, and he had twin girls whose wheelchairs were broken. So when you look at getting a kid into college and those costs, the wife and treatment, plus you have 2 special needs daughters that you're paying therapy, prescriptions, all the things for, you were in a season of hardship. We helped that family. So
I have
that's
another
about the
question.
best answer.
Um, as far as the camps are concerned, you
Uh-huh.
said they're family camps. Do we also have kid camps
We
that
do
are
not.
okay? So they're basically
Only
family and family respite camps. I remember, I have 4 adult kids and 3 with disabilities, and we went to a camp, Victory Junction, and it was back then it was Kyle and Patty Petty that founded that camp, and it was for kids with disabilities, and it was kind of a family camp situation, and it was nice. There was a lot of respite, a lot of fun, and you do truly make relationships that last a lifetime.
yes.
So that is really cool. So are we on this slide or are we ready to go to the next one?
The other thing I was going to say about camp is if mom and dad need a little bit of respite, like what you said, it's fully staffed, volunteers everywhere. Mom and dad can take a breather and do their own thing. If they want to be involved with what the kids are doing, then they can do that. So it's just, a place for everybody to kind of just have fun, take a breath, and come back recharged. So you can see there, it's a great way to meet and bond with other families. The respite care, 100% accessible, safe place to be yourself. And I love that part of it. Camp applications are not always up online. They go up about 6 to 8 weeks before our camps. And I'm going to tell you at the end the best way to stay in the know about when things like that happen with Be an Angel. I'm going to tell you at the end how to do that. We are not able to take everyone that applies for camp to camp. That is the only thing that we do, not totally 100% take everybody. But we keep a list and we kind of know who's went, who hasn't, and we try to spread that around. And there's just some pictures from camp that you can see, canoeing and horseback riding. Love the campfires at night. You can go to the next slide, Allison. 2026 camp dates. September 25th through 27th, Camp for All in Burton. And applications are up right now on the website for Camp for All. It may even now be up for Camp Aransas Zoo. And I will give you the website at the end of this presentation. October 9th through the 11th, Camp Aransas Zoo in Rockport. Go to the next slide. Our 2027 camp dates, March 19th through 21st in Rockport, 23rd through 25th of April, Camp for All. And our new camp, we're adding a closer DFW location, closer to West Texas if we had families out there that wanted to come. It's going to be, I don't know, it's about an hour north of Fort Worth, an hour and 15 minutes north. In Paradise, Texas, on Lake Bridgeport. It's called Camp Summit. So we're excited to pilot that camp in the DFW area in 2027.
Could you tell us again, typically when things come up on your website? Because I know as the parent of kids with special needs that these summer camps, most of them, like they open up in say January or February, but if you don't get on it right away, if you wait till mid-March or early April, the slots are full. So can you kind of tell our listeners when they should be keeping an eye out for the dates for the applications to open up?
About 8 weeks before the camps, we do not you don't fill up slots. We wait till everyone has applied and we've taken them down, and then we go through and we look at all kinds of things. What is this child's disability? Will this family's disability work well with this family's disability? Do we have too many of this? It's like a process. And it's not just you apply and you're filling up slots. The application period is open. When it's open, then we take everything and look at it and decide who's going to camp. It's not first come, first serve.
Okay, that's good. A lot of them are first come, first serve.
Mm-hmm.
And with all the other things that we have on our plate, it feels overwhelming.
Yes.
And then we're like, stretching and filling out all these different applications and hoping that we'll get one or two. And so, yeah, you know the
I
game.
hear you.
You know it and you know it well.
Yeah.
So I have a few questions, and I see that
Okay.
you've got your email address, your phone number, the website, the funding. How and when was Be an Angel founded? How is it funded? And if we have families or organizations that have joined us today that wants to be a part of this or wants to support your 501c3, tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay. They were founded, like I said, 40 years ago, 501c3. And the way it started is our founder was dropping off her child at school in Houston. And back then, T.H. Rogers, which is a school in the Houston area, it served both the gifted and talented and the special needs children. And so her daughter was gifted and talented, but she kept seeing this mother taking her child out of her car, picking her up like a baby, and carrying her in and laying her on a mat in the classroom. So finally, she went up to her and said, "What's going on? Why do you have to carry your child in? Is there anything I can do to help?" And the lady was a maid in the Houston area. And she said that her daughter's wheelchair had broken and she did not have the money to have it repaired or get a new one. So our founder went back to her bridge club and said, "We're going to get this little girl a new wheelchair." And they did. The next year, Be an Angel was founded. She raised about $1.2 million in that year, and built the first of its kind back then in the 90s, an aquatics therapy pool at T.H. Rogers. And it was a big thing at that time. President George Bush Sr. and Barbara got involved with it and actually did the dedication of the pool. At the time, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick was not in politics, but he was a successful radio show host in the Houston area. He got on board with it and actually served on the board in the beginning. And then it's just kind of grown from there into the programs that it is today. We make money just like any other 501c3. 60% comes from our fundraising events. We have 3 a year. They're lots of fun. So if you're in the Dallas Fort Worth area, I encourage you to play in our celebrity golf tournament. Every team plays with the Dallas Cowboy or Texas Ranger. We have a special songs country music event in the Stockyards in Fort Worth in June, and we have a designer purse bingo night for the ladies in September. And so fundraising accounts for 60%. We do write grants that help. And we have like our end of year campaign that's focused on Christmas giving that we do by sending letters out, and then just, individual donors. So that's kind of how our funding works. This is what I'm most proud to say. Everything we bring in, we live on 10% of it. 90% of every dollar goes towards the services I told you that we do for children.
That's a
And that's
big
pretty
deal
incredible
because
in the
a
nonprofit
lot
world.
of agencies are not doing that. A lot of
Yeah.
501(c)(3)s are not like that, and that is a big deal. And I'm glad that I'm glad that you brought that point up,
Hmm.
because I think it's
We're
really important. So what I
very
would
proud.
say is I think that the respite for families is important. We're so busy as parents,
Oh,
as
yes.
caregivers. And the word that I hear every week over and over and over again is overwhelmed. I feel
Mm,
overwhelmed, or I feel inept. I
yeah.
feel ill-equipped to deal with some of the things that are being thrown at me. It's, fast and furious. And so I think that, being intentional to schedule that respite time and to schedule these type of things and kind of get involved with this type of thing kind of helps the overall family. And I and
Yeah.
and I think when mom and dad are happy, everybody's happy,
Yeah.
and things, go a lot better. And then we also feel recharged and re-energized and ready for the next battle, because it's always a battle. Like it's always something,
Yeah.
that we are
You
working through
can't
and
always,
addressing, but fill your cup.
yes, yes, that's what I was going to say. You cannot fill your child's cup if your cup's empty and there's nothing to pour
Right.
out. On this particular slide, we do have a Facebook page. We keep it heavily updated. We announce when camp applications go live, all those things. So it's great to follow. The email there, if you go to our website, beanangel.org, scroll to the very bottom, it'll say sign up for e-blast and newsletters. If you do that, you will get, hey, it's time to sign up for camp. Hey, we've added respite care because respite care hasn't always been something we do. So, but that respite care is going crazy right now with the 10-year wait on the state waiver program,
Well,
and
no, let's
then
be clear. That's changed. That's drastically changed. It's
probably
17 to
more.
20.
Yeah,
17 to 20 years is what the average win is for Texans for the Medicaid waiver, unless there is a crisis, and then
yeah,
they move up faster. But right now, it's really behind. And I say that, and it sounds negative. It's less than ideal, but I'm still hopeful and optimistic that there's going to be positive change. There are a lot of parents, there are a lot of agencies, there are a lot of professionals that are advocating for positive change in that arena. And so keep your ear to the ground
Yeah.
If somebody asks you to get involved and kind of changing that, do get involved. Your voices do matter, even though
Yeah.
you don't feel like they do, they absolutely do. So, just be encouraged that maybe that there'll be change for that in the future.
Yeah.
So, well, Denise, I always love it whenever we have a topic that I haven't heard of before. Now, I can say that I've had a couple of clients over the years that had the van modification thing, and it was
Hmm.
a game changer for them. I know that that's a big deal, and those adaptive vans are ridiculous. And is that something, the modification, like you'll modify their existing van, or is
Yes.
it a van with, do you guys find an adaptive van? Like if the family needs a van, they don't have a van that has the wheelchair lift. Tell me how that works.
So the first step with the vans are um, you would sit down with like one of the companies that do those. United or NTS Mobility is a great one in the Dallas Fort Worth area. NTS is one of the few that I know of that he has new ones and can do the modification, but he looks for used like new, maybe a 2015 van that has very low mileage, very little wear on it, but it's already got the modification in it. So he has a selection of those that sometimes uh, end up being cheaper than doing the modification on the one they have. Or so when you want a van conversion, we recommend you go out to one of those facilities. They can look at the vehicle you have, see if it can take conversion. Um, I saw a little Kia car conversion being put on the back end that's going to go into the hatchback area in one of their warehouses the other day. So we're way beyond just being able to modify vans.
Can you mention those two organizations again that you mentioned? I'd
Uh-huh.
like you to just say those again for our audience.
NTS Mobility is in Irving. And the other one we do a lot with is called United, and they
Hmm.
are in the Garland Mesquite area.
Okay.
Mobility Works is also one that we work with. I know they're in Houston. Uh,
Hmm. I've seen some around Houston in at
uh-huh,
the Ability Expo. They're usually at the Ability Expo, and
uh-huh.
I think that's coming up soon. If it didn't already
It
happen,
was last weekend.
okay. I was going to say it was probably just recent.
Yeah.
But to your point, I do want to say, because I found this in my own family. When you need the van, you need the van. But when you don't need it anymore, it's over. You do not need it. And I have seen lots of people unload these accessible vans on Facebook Marketplace and
Uh-huh.
other things. They just need to get rid of it. They no longer need it. They may have been caring for someone elderly,
Uh-huh.
whatever reason, they don't need it anymore and they just want to unload it. And they may have got it from somebody else that needed it for a period of time and didn't need it anymore. And so they want to bless the other family because they get it. And
Yes.
so don't lose sight of that, because I think that that is a really, really valuable point. Okay, so we've got the beanangel.org, and we've got applications online in both English and
Uh-huh.
Spanish. And you said that those are out there for the families. We've got all of the contact information for Denise. And again, this is Denise Kaufman. And so you guys can reach out to her directly. So let me see what
And I will say
questions.
real quick, Allison, Brandy is my counterpart in Dallas Fort Worth. She's our programs manager. So she's who goes out to the school districts, to Cook's Children's, to Scottish Rite, to Children's Dallas, and presents these services. So the way we try to get the word out to families beyond what we're doing today is we will call on schools and say, can I get all your SPED teachers together after school for 10 minutes? And we go through our programs, or all of your physical therapists at Cook Children's, or all of your caseworkers at Scottish Rite. So that's what Brandy goes out and does. I'm on the development side, which is trying to find the money to keep our wait list, not, that we don't have wait list. But yeah, and that's my cell phone should anybody use it. I don't mind that I take calls at midnight because you know what, sometimes that's the only time in a day that you get with some of the kids that you're caring for. And if I'm asleep, then it won't be answered and it'll be off. But if I'm up and around, I know that families with disabilities, their schedules aren't like uh, the rest of ours. So um, I definitely try to do what I can when I can and keep and remember that about them.
So we've addressed the questions on how we can apply. We've addressed the question, does this program serve Region 11, South Texas? So the bottom line is this program serves Texas. Texans in Texas, people with disabilities. She talked about the age categories, under 25 for camp, under 22 for adaptive services. Or
Under
did I say it
25
backwards?
for respite and everything else under 22.
Got it. Okay. Somebody asked about California. We kind of talked about some different websites. Consolidated Planning Group, we serve people all across the United States, not just in Texas.
Yeah.
So when people engage our services, then we provide resources that are available to you in your area. That's something that we do. And then we answered the questions, Dallas, Fort Worth resources. Well, maybe we didn't. Let's address autism. So if the primary diagnosis is autism, the person is not in a wheelchair, it does not need adaptive equipment. Are they a candidate? I know you look at all the applications, but is autism on the list of potential candidates for the camp?
Yes, ma'am. We take lots of kids, of autistic kids to camp, respite care. There's lots of autistic kids. Um, we don't do much to help like learning disabilities or behavioral disabilities per se.
Hmm.
Um, but autism is, yes, and a lot of them are nonverbal, and we bought them speech language tablets. So
Cool.
or sensory equipment, that's something else we do. We've built so many sensory rooms at school districts and equipped them. We've built sound booths so that all audiological services can be done at school, and families aren't having to pay co-pays to doctors to do it. The school audiologist does it all. So there's just a lot for families and individuals, but there's also a lot for school districts who are always complaining that we don't have the money or the funding or this or
Sure.
that. There's a lot of opportunity there for them as well. We have a success golf program that school districts can say, hey, we want you to bring success golf to our campus. And what we do is bring in an adaptive 9-hole putting tournament with medals and t-shirts, and we host that tournament. We buddy up the special needs kids with the student council, or maybe if a business is supporting it, the employees from the business. And we do a 9-hole putting tournament, and schools fight over that program in Houston. It's just a lot of fun. We did our first ones here in Dallas Fort Worth in March. So lots of things for school districts. $81,000 worth of new Rifton chairs for classrooms in Granbury ISD, who had not updated those chairs in 19 years. They were
Wow.
falling apart, and yet that's what they were using with kids at school. So
So I love that, like, so for our professionals that are here, our educators that are here today, these are programs that you can get implemented in the school. It's no skin off the school's back. It's not using money that they don't have or what have you. So I love that partnership. I think it's really, really important. I love what you guys are doing. I also love that you know who you serve. I sat on the board for a special needs school for years and years as the chairman of the board, and knowing who you serve matters. And it also matters to the other people that are accepted for the camp and their experience and all of those types of things. And so I love the careful consideration that your organization has put into that, because it really, really does make a difference. It makes a difference for the volunteers, for the workers, for the
yeah,
attendees, for the families, and their whole experience. So I love that you guys are thinking about that. Well, this has certainly been our pleasure to learn more about Be an Angel, and I know that the families that have been on here are going to reach out, and I know that the professionals that serve individuals with disabilities, they are going to add this to their to their list of resources to share with other families. So for our next few slides, these are just a few things that we say to keep on your radar. Consolidated Planning Group, we do webinars on all of these topics: developing a comprehensive special needs care plan, future care cost estimate, the waivers, Medicaid waivers, how to get on the list, deep dive on SSI, SSDI, understanding what's what and when to apply, ABLE accounts, beneficiary designation, special needs trust, how to fund them, residential living communities, guardianship, post-high school education options. Guys, we do webinars on every single one of these topics. And so if these are things that have been on your radar before, you're going to want to sign up for them in the future, or go to our YouTube channel and check out ones that we have done in the past. This link here will take you to our upcoming webinars where you can register for any upcoming webinars. And again, our webinars are always recorded, and you will always get an email later after the fact with a PDF of the slides with any important links and contact information in there. We have been mentioning since July 1st, we have a new SSI, SSDI application advocacy and education support service. We have Jessica Alvarez leading up this team, and this is for families who need help and guidance and education on what to apply for and when, and need help with the paperwork as it relates to applying for SSI and programs through the Social Security Administration. So you'll want to learn more about this service. We work on a collaborative team here at CPG. So whether you work with me or you work with somebody else, you're getting all of us because we do work collaboratively. And we always say we're a confusing bunch because we got a husband and wife team. And we have two Sarahs, one Smith, one Smithy, a Sir. It all sounds together. So we always like to put some faces with the names. So right here on your screen, what you see here is a QR code. You can hover your camera over that QR code, and it'll take you to a link where you can schedule your free personalized consultation. So again, when families come to us, they've done some planning, maybe they want a second opinion, maybe they need to get started. And basically it costs you nothing to learn a little bit more about CPG, how we work, and how we can build on the foundation that you've already established and help you take it to the next level. So free personalized 45-minute consultations, and that QR code will take you to the calendar for that. Well, Denise, it has certainly been my pleasure, and I love learning new stuff. And this was something that was definitely new today. And I think that we are all better for hearing this. And parents and professionals that have been on here today, share this with
Yeah.
other families that you know that are in similar circles as you. Let's get the word out about Be an Angel. Thank
Mhm.
you, Denise, and
Thank you,
we'll look
Allison.
forward to partnering with you again soon. Bye
Okay,
now.
thanks.